Hello YouTube, this is Mad Movie Mark with another Mad Movie Mark movie review. Today we are going to do the 2019 Noah Baumbach movie Marriage Story. If you've never heard of Noah Baumbach before, that's fine. I hadn't either until I saw this movie. And if you're wondering what he is currently up to, he is currently writing the movie called Barbie, which is going to be a live-action movie starring Margot Robbie about Mattel's Barbie. So that will give us something to look forward to in the future. This movie, Marriage Story, stars Adam Driver, Scarlett Johansson, Laura Dern, Liotta, and Alda. Laura Dern won Best Supporting Actress for this movie. Scarlett Johansson was nominated for Best Actress. Adam Driver was nominated for Best Actor, and Noah Baumbach was nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay. I believe this is the newest movie that I've done in this podcast. I've done a lot of older movies, but 2019 is pretty new. The previous newest movie that I had done was The Founder, which Laura Dern was also in. So she is a rising star now, it would seem. I've seen other things with her as well, and she is a great actress, so she deserves to be a rising star. And I know at first I gave Noah Baumbach a little bit of a Razzie because he's doing a movie called Barbie. But this movie is masterful. This movie is fantastic. Marriage Story is great. And he did a really good job. Like I said, I've never heard of him before. But this is, for me, being the first movie I've ever seen of his, it's impressive. He did a very good job here. So Scarlett Johansson plays a theater actress who gets this who lives in New York, but gets a really good job offer in LA. Adam Driver plays her husband, who also lives in New York with her, and works at the playhouse that she is acting at, but he's a director. He gets an offer to take his play to Broadway in New York. So she ends up taking the offer, and she takes her child. They have a child together. She takes their child to LA. He stays in New York. As far as we know, for maybe a little bit, everything's fine. But then we learn early on in the movie, very early on in the movie, that their relationship is soured. There's no coming back from this, really, and they're going to get a divorce. They agree in principle that they're going to get a divorce at first, but it takes a little while for the papers to actually be presented to Adam Driver's character. And until then, they're separated, but they're amicable to each other. They're talking to each other. Everything seems okay. Adam Driver has this idea in his head that once the pilot and the show that Scarlett Johansson is doing in Los Angeles, once that's over, everyone will move back to New York, and they will be this New York family. He says throughout the entire movie that they are a New York family, that they belong in New York. Her family is in Los Angeles. She has friends in Los Angeles. That's kind of keeping her there. So this is a big point of contention throughout the movie, is where they are going to live and where they want to live. Once Adam Driver is presented the papers for divorce, he is emotionally kind of taken aback. He knew this would happen, but he wasn't ready for it. It was kind of like a punch in the gut type of thing. And they agree early on that they don't want to get lawyers. Adam Driver really doesn't want anything in the divorce. He just wants to be friends, be amicable, be nice to each other, move back to New York, he can see the kid all the time, and everything's great. But this slowly starts to take a turn when someone at Scarlett Johansson's work suggests that she should get a lawyer, and she does. So she ends up getting Laura Dern, who is a very good lawyer, but she really attacks and she really takes what she wants, and she doesn't take no for an answer. And she knows that once something like this happens, everyone wants to be nice to each other, but eventually it's not going to happen. Eventually there's going to be a fight, and she's trying to get Scarlett Johansson ready for this fight. Adam Driver learns about this, and he learns that if he doesn't get a lawyer, he's probably going to lose full custody of his child. He doesn't want this, so he decides to look for various lawyers as well. He finds Alda, who is a very nice person. He wants to handle things nicely, and he wants to kind of be this good guy and be the bigger person throughout the throughout this, and Adam Driver realizes that if he's going to go up against Laura Dern, he needs kind of a cutthroat lawyer, so he hires Ray Liotta. Um, and then it's just really a back and forth throughout this movie. Uh, and I love it. So one thing that I didn't mention is that one big point of contention in this is that Adam Driver cheated on Scarlett Johansson's character, which is one thing that she can't forgive and that she can't look back on. She can't forgive him for. There's this really big emotional breakdown throughout in the movie where they both really show their acting chops and they just yell at each other and go at each other, where he says, you know, the reason why I cheated on you is because I was young and I wasn't getting it from you and I didn't want to lose my young years, and really this is your fault type of thing, which is so like what a jerk guy would say. So biggest points of contention in this movie are he wants to stay in New York. He wants everyone to live in New York. She wants to live in Los Angeles. And I don't know if you guys have gone through, if anyone's gone through a custody battle before, but what I hear is that in order for, if the son is established in a state with a mom, and the dad is not around all the time, that it's very hard. It's very hard to move that kid out of the state. I don't know if that's true, but that's just what I've heard. So it's a big point of contention. I personally, I haven't seen Black Widow yet, but I've seen a lot of Scarlett Johansson movies, and I've never really seen a role where she just really gets to just act, where she really, I've seen her in a lot of like background stuff or stuff where she's not given a lot of speaking parts or not a huge role, or she's not like the main attraction in the movie. But this movie, she definitely has her chance to show what she can do, and it's very good. She at some points in the movie she has to play like the hurt, distraught wife who's been cheated on. At other points in the movie, she's kind of like a carefree. She's rid herself of Adam Driver. She's going to go out and have fun and live her life, and then she reverts to a point where she's yelling and she's sticking up for herself, and it's great. I haven't seen her act like this before, but she definitely delivers a very solid performance in this movie. And it's really nice to see a movie where the female character defends herself and fights for herself. And she's been cheated on, and she doesn't. You don't see any inclination really. You see little bits here and there where maybe she still loves Adam. I mean, she still loves Adam Driver, and you see that. Which I think is part of the brilliance of the directing and the writing here. You can see hints of her still loving Adam Driver, but she doesn't get to that breaking point where she feels like she has to get back together with him for whatever reason. And I absolutely love that. I love a female character that can stick up for herself and do her own thing and not have to worry about what the guy is doing. Adam Driver plays a really good distraught character in this movie. He doesn't. He kind of moves his way through the movie until at the end where there's kind of this explosion of emotions where he kind of bottles things up, and then at the end he kind of lets it out. His reasoning for why he cheated on her is kind of. I mean, he probably deep down inside believes that it's justified. I don't think the movie is trying to make him sound like he's justified. I personally don't think that he's justified. Any cheating for any reason is not okay, especially for a reason like that where you say, well, I was in my 20s and I wanted to live. Well, why don't you talk to her? Just talk to your wife. Tell her what's going on. Maybe you can make a change. I don't know. Why don't you try that? At this point, it's just an excuse. But it's a really great movie. I think at some points in the movie, they maybe want. This is the brilliance of this movie. Normally in a movie, I can tell if they want me to want the characters to get back together, or if they want me to not want the characters to get back together. But in this movie, it kind of leaves it up to what you believe. I personally, even though I did see a chemistry with them, you do see that they love each other. You feel that they both really want to work this out and they want to make this happen at some points, or they wish they could have made it happen. You definitely see the loss that they're feeling. Even Scarlett Johansson, even though she wants this divorce because of the things that he's done and because of the way she makes him feel, there's still a history there, and she still remembers the history and she still remembers what she had. And I think this movie does a really good job of showing you that even, I mean, divorce is hard. Leaving people you love is hard. But in the end, you have to do what you believe is best, and you can't look back. And I think the ending of the movie shows us that you can't look back in one way or another. And I think the whole movie from top to bottom is just a great movie. I will say Laura Dern in this movie is very good. When I saw her in the movie The Founder, I was a little disappointed because in The Founder, she gets a divorce. From a guy who's just a big jerk. I mean, he's an asshole to her. And then you never hear from her again. You never see her character. She just kind of fades off into the sunset, and you don't know what happened. There's no follow through. In The Founder, I wish that we would have seen her fight for herself a little bit. We would have seen her stick up for herself. But that's not there, and that is her character in this movie is definitely a stronger character. This is a movie full of strong female characters, and at the end, you can tell they're strong, and I absolutely love it. I'm on board with strong female characters who don't take anything from guys, and who, at the end of the movie, because, I mean, sometimes you have a strong female character, but at the end of the movie, they're like, okay, whatever, I'll get back with them, man. But this movie, it doesn't happen, and it's fantastic. If I were to give this movie, well, I give every movie a rating out of 10. This movie is a solid, I would say 8.5. 8.5 seems great. So 8.5 for this movie, maybe a 9, but 8.5 seems fine. So that is my synopsis of Marriage Story. It's not as long as my normal YouTube videos, but I didn't have a lot of negative to say about this movie, which would have probably filled another 4 minutes normally. So my next movie review for sure is either going to be Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which I've been promising. This week's a little hectic because of school, but I will finish Eternal Sunshine and do that. And I'm also watching The Queen right now with my fiance, so that might be coming up soon as well. This has been a Mad Movie Mark movie production. Have a great day. Thank you.